Okay, I'm going to start full-time YouTube and quit my day job. That is something great. This is what I expect if this video goes live, right? Hardware Zone people will be writing, this stupid YouTuber quit his job to do YouTube full-time and has full CPF. How much cash does he have to sustain the lifestyle? I always believe that if the kid is good enough, he doesn't need your help. And the kid is such a failure, then why does he deserve of your help? I'm into this kind of thinking. I think Bunty, Kelvin, and Eric all are older than me. They can understand this kind of thing. Because you can only tolerate so much in your earlier part of the years. Then you're trying to live a life to forever, for eternity. Are you able to accept this kind of thing or not? Maybe 1-2 years you can accept that, but 3-4 years later, what are you going to do? You're going to tolerate. Your life will be really miserable.
Well, how come suddenly this become like a consultation for my love life? But
everything will pass one day and you'll realize how stupid and foolish you were spending that useless amount of money on things that don't add value to your life. And you see, once I hit the full retirement sum, I don't have to bother about the ever increasing FRS that people like to complain, because everyone on Hardware Zone, every year, they will talk about increasing FRS, shifting the stupid goalposts by the government.
welcome back to episode 15 of the Backholder Pod. So today we have yet another special guest. So I know I keep saying everybody's special, but you guys know from the bottom of my heart, all of you are special. But anyway, I think in this week's episode, we have a very interesting guest because he's actually at a tender age of 31, turning 32, yet he has already hit full retirement sum as his CPF. So let me introduce to you Chris from Honey Money SG. Hey Chris, how are you doing recently?
Hey, Chiking and the Backholder team. Yeah, doing good. Thank you for that very great introduction. In fact, I hit it by age 30, so I didn't hit it just this year alone. So many more years to come. So look forward to giving some value to the Backholders podcast.
Right, that's some humble brag over there. But I think just to really kickstart the discussion, right? I think a lot of people are quite interested because, especially in the Singapore scene, right? I think financial education is one very important piece of everybody's life, but I think it's not really emphasized in like the Singapore education system, and we rarely see youngsters trying to tout or essentially trying to encourage people to contribute into their CPF system and to work hard, to live below their means and stuff like that. And on top of that, you're one of the personal finance guru on the YouTube space itself. So I just wanted to understand your entire FIRE journey. When do you even have this idea and stuff like that? Like to give us some background and context.
Okay, so I think let's start with what is FIRE, because I think some of you may not be familiar with the Financial Independence Retire Early movement. Basically, you are trying to save up in the first maybe 10 to 20 years of your life, getting some high income from your job, then making some investments and doing some side hustles on the side, so that you can retire from the earlier age that people think they can retire. That is maybe like 60s. Okay, so what you actually do is you try to amass this amount of wealth in maybe your late 20s, early 30s, depending on how fast you can achieve it, so that you can not rely on your day job. For most people, it's their 9-to-5 job. So that your investment, either your investment returns or your business returns or your side hustles can help you generate enough cash flow, sufficient cash flow for you to tide over the remaining years of your life. And how I started on this journey, right, coming back, I started, I would say, 10 years ago, before financial independence retire early was even a thing. I would say that the FI part, there's a difference, right? There's the FI part and the RE part. FI is the money part, and then RE is the time part. So there are actually two goals combined into one. So in order to achieve FI, you need to have the money, and then in order to retire early, you need to have the time, right? So I believe at the age of 21, I started with the FI part. So I just got out of NS, right? When we are talking with your NS buddies, then what are you going to do after NS? So I say, okay, I'll maybe go and teach some tuition, because back then some of these NS mates has already like begun tuition service, and it's quite good money back at the time. So after NS, while waiting for university, I started this private tutoring, right? So that was when I started to make some sort of side income, I would say, because it's not a full-time job. And that's also because it's quite highly paid per hour. And then university, I just continued with this tuition gig kind of thing. until I started employment. So when I started employment after graduation, then I start to have full-time income. But I realized that full-time income, once you step into corporate, as you go along the years, then you will realize that it's not as stable as you think it is, right? So you need to do something on the side. Then later, as we progress on during this podcast, then I'll share more about these other things that happen during the corporate life and on the side. But if you want a specific age, that is 21, where I start to really think about it. And then when I started employment, full-time employment, then I start to look at CPF so that I can slowly build up all these things over the years.
Right. Bunty, before you interrupt, right? I want to also say that, you know what else is more stable? The like button is the most stable. So remember to help gently click on it. I forgot to mention in the first part. But yeah, Bunty, back to you.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I think for people who are going into this fire, right? I think there are people who focus a lot on like adding the income source. There are people who focus on cut down their expenses. So for you, you are actually which part? Tilt toward which part? That's first question. And second question is that actually your full-time job, right? As a total percentage of your total income, actually how much is it like in percentage? Is it like more than 50% or is it like already much less than that?
Okay, so let's address the first part of the question, which is increase the income or minimize the expense, right? In Chinese, we call it 开源节流嘛. 开源 is increase income, reduce expense is 节流. So when you are a student, right, you start with the 节流 part first, because actually you are a student, you don't have much power to go and look for high income skill. Your sole high income skill is maybe from tuition. So I started with the 节流 part, reduce expense part. How much can you live with, right? So most of my meals are in school canteen, so that's pretty affordable. And then take public transport, all this. But when you actually graduated from school, right, that's when you can start to increase your income, because now you're more valuable. You can go and demand higher pay, or you have the skill set to go and do a high income skill. So the thing about managing your expenses is, if you started young enough and you don't have very high expectations or lifestyle inflation, then you can keep this discipline. But once you start on a high note, let's say you already start spending a lot since young, then it's very difficult to switch it downwards. Whereas if you start whereas for the income part, right, you can start off slowly, but as you build up and acquire more high income skills, then it can scale up your income further. So that was my approach. I know that it may not be applicable to everyone on the community.
Yeah, second question is just curious, like out of your full-time job, how much it contributes to your total income? Just ballpark, no need to give like what exact numbers.
Simple answer is 50%. 50%. If you want to elaborate,
it's okay.
Can poke more questions.
Don't need to elaborate. I think we can respect your privacy as well.
So like Chris, you mentioned you started at 21 years old. But for me at 21, I think for a lot of people at 21, they were busy chasing girls, watching anime, playing games, browsing hardware zone and stuff. So, but for you, how do you actually come upon fire at that young age? What made you grow up so fast?
Oh, very simple. I was also playing games at 21. You see, I was playing this very popular game called Maple Story. You see, Maple Story, you must spend a lot of cash, okay, in order to make your character very powerful. So that day I was thinking, I need to spend so much money. What if I can earn some money to help me buy some better equipment? So I think, okay, go and do some tuition. Do tuition, like $30 an hour. I can afford some equipment already. Just do 1 hour. So that was the starting point, like I wanted to buy better stuff in the game. Then over the years, I was doing more tuition. Then I say, don't make sense. I make this money that I spend it on the stupid game. So I quit the game eventually. Then it started from here. Like it's a very simplistic transition. When you're young, you like to play games. But when you're older, then you realize making money then is the correct game to play than playing stupid online games.
But I know that you are going to marry soon. I don't know if you can share it or not. So when you met your girlfriend at the time, did your goal sort of change, or did you like prep her like, hey, I'm going to eat Cai Fan every day, you don't disturb me, that kind of mindset?
I asked her before already. So the thing is that, right, before I knew her, I was doing my own thing, but after I knew her, then I realized she also don't like doing her job lah. Like nobody wants to work till they are old. So I sold her this idea how to retire early. So we need to do this, do that. Okay, so are you aligned or not? So she said, yes, I am aligned. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do lah. I'm going to do this, and on the way, I'm going to help you. In the long-term plan, I'm going to employ you as well. So you are part of my retirement plan, so that we can both leave the day job and now we can work as a team together in the company. So that is how I sold her the idea.
Wow, Chris is a good salesman, I think. But I think
That's before you got together or after you got together?
A few years after. It takes some time. It's not like immediately,
So you just
if
hook her in, then you brainwash her lah.
I would say brainwash. I would say influence.
Upsell.
Influence.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, right? If for someone who is young, maybe like early 20s, right, is thinking of doing FIRE, right? Would you recommend that they like look for a partner a bit slightly later, or like just after they graduate straight away, because most of them will find chase girls like in university, except Chiking lah. But most people.
you don't have to bring me into the discussion, but okay, sure.
See, I was a fresh grad not too long ago lah. I would say 8 years. 8 years is that long ago. But you see the thing is when you are trying to find a partner, sometimes it's not you go and find means have one. Sometimes when it's the right time, it's the right person, it comes, and you cannot control that. So I would say if the right person comes along your way and your thoughts are aligned, your family goals, all this, your ideas are aligned, right? I think don't hesitate. Sometimes, like Mr. Lu said in your other podcast, he said that your best financial investment is your partner. Because if it's bad one, it can really wreck all your financial plans. And if it's a good one, it will help you tide over any kind of crisis. So that is very important. I would say
on that note, right? On that note, Chris, just want to ask you, right? Since you are saying that, if let's say hypothetically, right, you met someone whom you really like, you super like her, like 10 out of 10, but her idea is her worldview is not super aligned to your FIRE, because she want to live like a little bit like a princess lah, like indulge in a overseas trip, like go Europe maybe once every 2 years, spend all your money. I mean, like, then how will you react to that? If you really love her very, very much, would you change a little bit for her, postpone your FIRE a little bit, or no negotiation at all?
Okay, I think that there needs to be a balance, right? How much are you willing to accept? Okay, let's say if this person likes to go travel, is she able to travel to like nearer countries, APEC region? Not every time go to Europe or the Western region. Those are much more expensive, right? Maybe APEC, you say like maybe 2-3 trips a year. I think that's still okay on the budget level. But long-term wise, you must be able to accept, I would say, because you see, your worldviews must be aligned one. All these things, not only your financial, your family goals, all this. And it's very difficult to align, to be honest. Sometimes you all will have some quarrels along the way. But as long as the big picture is there, it also depends on how much you value this person, I would say. And if all this is, you must see what's your breaking point, or what is the thing that you really cannot accept. Is it greater than the things that you can accept or not? For someone young like Chiking, maybe you are still finding this kind of ideal things, but I can tell you that once you reach your 30s, all this thing about ideal partner, what thing I want to find, it's more about how much you can accept or how much you cannot accept. Okay, I think Bunty, Kelvin, and Eric all are older than me lah. They can understand this kind of thing, because you can only tolerate so much in your earlier part of the years. Then you're trying to live your life to forever, for eternity. Are you able to accept this kind of thing or not? Maybe 1-2 years you can accept that, but 3-4 years later, what are you going to do? You're going to tolerate. Your life will be really miserable.
Well, how come suddenly this become like a consultation for my love life? But anyway, I think the focus isn't on me. But I actually do have a question for Chris though. So I think in the undergrad days, I mean, I'm in my last semester now. I think peer pressure is a very invincible and very real thing. So people like they go drinking, they go clubbing. I don't know, now they go siamtu and all those nonsense, right? I'm not against those recreational activities, but my concern, at least from my perspective, was really monetary wise. You burn a lot of money. You burn a lot of money going out to drink. You burn a lot of money visiting these sort of places, right? And sometimes I do succumb to peer pressure. I'm gonna admit to that, but large part I try to avoid. But I just wanted to consult you. Like I don't know how many youngsters like in their early 20s that are in the same position that might face the same issues or challenges as well. Like how personally did you go about those problems and temptations, if I can put it that way?
Okay. So this one I can relate to it quite well because it depends on the company that you are with. You are the average of the 5 closest person you are with. So it depends on what kind of company you have. So if you are with people who always like to go out drinking session, clubbing session, naturally you steer towards that kind of lifestyle. Okay. And there's totally nothing wrong about that. Let me be very clear. Especially if you are in the 20s, this is the best time for you to go out and explore and play and see what you like and don't like. Some people really like this kind of lifestyle, right? Every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, go to the clubs and chiong. That's what the millennials do. The Gen Z, I don't know. Okay. But you see, some people enjoy that, but you must understand that this comes as a trade-off and a monetary trade-off. Okay. Each outing may cost you up to $100 if you include everything in. So I think if you are younger and you just want to have a taste of it, no problem. Maybe you go 1 or 2 times just to experience. You see whether you like. Okay, I have also tried it. I don't really enjoy it, and that's why I reduce my activities from there. Okay, but let's say you really enjoy it, then you must also think about your future lah. Are you going to do this every weekend or not? Okay, instead, what can you do something else instead? Maybe now you can do Netflix and chill lah. Last time our time don't have Netflix one, but you see it's a much more affordable kind of entertainment compared to going out to drink, club and all that. I would say that for the younger folks, especially if you're in university, this is just a passing phase. Everyone will have this young phase where they just want to chill, want to explore the world, want to see what's in it for them. Everything will pass one day and you'll realize how stupid and foolish you were spending that useless amount of money on things that don't add value to your life. That's what I can tell you at this point in time.
For the rest of the older folks, like Eric, Bunti, do you all agree?
Yeah, I of course agree. I think Chris gave a good commentary on that because I'm just thinking because from I think like the rest of us I think we are married and then we already went past that phase now. But I'm just thinking from someone who is, let's say, like 20 years old plus, and then just let's say just started work, okay, have some money. For those single ones, just want to get a girlfriend. And if you want to have this kind of like do this kind of things at the same time, you want to go for FIRE, and by FIRE means that you save a huge proportion of your income, then there's a dilemma there, like should I just should I treat my friend or girlfriends a meal or not? Should I buy some present or not? Should I bring her to visit, traveling and so on? So how to balance? There's always this temptation to do more. Like if you don't do more, you don't spend the money. So stingy. How to get girlfriend, right? Girlfriend also run away. So how? I mean, maybe try to frame it from someone who is younger, not myself.
Maybe that's why I don't have girlfriend. Just saying. But anyway, my money is on the stock market. But yeah, Chris, back to you.
Yeah. So Bunti, you asked this question. Actually, I also cannot answer one. Each person has their own sense of balance lah. I would say it's a trade-off. Either you spend money, you spend time, or you spend effort. Or these three, you must spend either of these two to win over a relationship. Win over a bit, like commoditize it. But you see, the thing is that when you're trying to look for a partner, you have your certain set of ideals, and all these will be thrown out of the window when you found the right person one. So it's very difficult to say that you have found the right person only after you have spent a few years with them, then you'll understand one. There are things that you can tolerate, there are things you cannot tolerate. And for those people who are trying to find the ideal partner, I would say be patient, because not everything is perfect. Not everyone is perfect. Everyone will have their own set of flaws. And if you're like Chiking, still in university, trying to find a partner before you graduate, I would say people will tell you that try to find before you graduate. That is true, because after you started work, everyone is really busy with their own lives, and your social circle will be revolved around your work or your side hustles if you have one. So if you really want to find a partner, the best time is university. That is true.
Okay, so I think maybe we can pivot over to this idea of CPF, right? So I know you have made multiple videos about CPF and your journey with CPF thus far. So I think for foreign viewers that don't really know what CPF is, just a quick rundown. CPF is Central Provident Fund for short. It's a Singapore pension system. But anyhow, I think the bigger topic or the bigger headline here is that there is this quantum that every Singaporean can hit, which is called the full retirement sum, which is FRS in short as well. And this figure, I think in 2023 is around near $200,000. So this set of money is set aside in the CPF, and it will compound at a rate of, I think, 2.5 to 4%, depending on which account it's in. So I think for Chris, he did say that he's turning 32 this year. So at 32 years old, I presume that he still has other investments and things at the sidelines, and he has $200,000. I wouldn't say stuck, but devoted into this pension scheme. So it has been a very interesting journey, because we actually did some due diligence, and we go onto Hardware Zone, and then we start searching for Chris's name, right? Then there's a lot of very interesting comments on the sidelines as well. So I think I just wanted one of the most prominent one, right? Just to get your opinion on it is, why do you even want to lock your money up so early? And what's the thought process behind it?
Okay, so before that, right, I asked the backholder panel one question. You all make a guess. How much in total have I top up into CPF from my cash pile overall the years? You all make a guesstimate.
Top up means what? From cash,
Additional,
really, like
from
liquid cash into
pure
CPF.
cash.
Into CPF.
Yeah.
I guess 40K.
Okay.
50.
Yeah, me also 50.
Okay. Woody?
Sorry, on mute system. 50.
50 lah. Majority 50, then Chicken 40 lah. Okay, so but I just want to know the thought process. What do you think is around 50K is the pure amount that I top up into CPF to reach full retirement sum by 30? Is that just a wild guess, or
That's
you all base it on
around
your own
that's
experience?
around the amount that I topped up myself using cash. So I
Okay.
don't know why Kelvin and Bunty follow me. They like to copycat.
Yeah, easier ma.
Okay. So the answer is right. I top up around 40K in SA and 40K in MA. So total 80K.
Wow.
Okay. So that's much more than all your guesstimate lah. But you see, the thing about putting money in the CPF is my net amount put in CPF from my cash reserve is only 80,000. Okay, and this $80,000 will help me compound it over the years, despite me locking it up until I'm 55 or 65. So 80K, I treat it as like a investment, or you want to treat it like a annuity or pension fund, whatever you want to do it. 80K enough for me to secure the retirement funds until end of my life, if I put everything into CPF Life by enhanced retirement sum. And you see, once I hit the full retirement sum, I don't have to bother about the ever increasing FRS that people like to complain, because everyone on Hardware Zone, every year, they will talk about increasing FRS, shifting the stupid goalposts by the government, and then every year they will complain despite knowing the FRS will increase every year. Okay, we all know this FRS will increase every year one. So why bother to complain? You do it one time, do it good. Okay, next year you don't have to do everything. The interest will cover it all. So I treat this 80K as a form of safeguard. Okay, financial safety net, whatever you call it. 80K, is it a big sum of money in your late 20s or early 30s? Yes, it's still a very big sum of money. But if you think about it in the long term, by securing this 80K first, then your future years don't have to worry. It's a safety net for you to do other greater things, which I am intending to do at the start of this year. So whether you want to take higher risk in investments, starting a business, joining a startup, all these things that may actually have higher risk than CPF, make sure you secure the safety net first. Then you think about all these other stuff. Will it impact your FIRE journey? Yes. Okay, there is a trade-off. Whatever you put in CPF is the opportunity cost that you cannot put in your FI investment portfolio, to say. Okay, Kelvin has gone through with me this content several times, so he's not focusing on CPF, he's focusing on FIRE, which is all right. There's no right or wrong way. It's just that I prefer this method. I don't believe everyone should subscribe to this method. And if you have your own way of achieving FI, great, go and chase after it. Just that this is my way. I will not force your opinion on everyone. So at the same time, hope that everyone don't force their opinion on me and my community lah. So that's what I want to say.
Just a follow-up question. 80K, I remember just I think last year onwards, we can contribute the 8K and get some deduction in terms of tax. Previously was only 7K, and you're only working, you don't work more than 10 years, right? So meaning that out of this 80K, some portion you didn't get a tax deduction out of it, right?
Oh, that's incorrect, Punti. So
Okay,
you have to
please
study
enlighten.
the CPF law. You see, before year 2022, the CPF top-up tax relief, right, is quite different for especially the MediSave part. Because back then, you can top up as much as you want to MediSave up to the basic healthcare sum. And that sum, the top-up that you did, is not limited to 8K, right? Now it's 8K lah. Previously, whatever you top up, as long as you have not hit your CPF annual limit, that can be considered for tax relief. So at one point in time, I top up like 7K RSTU to my special account plus 10K MediSave account. So total, I had 17K of tax relief and pumping 17K a year into the CPF. So that was what happened. Now you cannot do that. To be honest, now you only can combine 8K. So the number of people hitting CPF FRS by 30 will be much lesser because of this rule. So that was the old rule. Now it's not applicable anymore.
But I would argue that like your earlier years, your salary isn't that high. So the tax relief isn't that huge, right? It's only like 7-8% kind of thing. Wouldn't it be better to wait until like 50, 60 years old when you are earning bigger bucks, then say get a 20% tax relief instead?
Yeah. So yeah, Kelvin, this question I didn't considering also, because back then my thinking very simple one. My thinking got no fire on when I was still a fresh grad. So I was thinking, okay lah, I need to build CPF, then get some tax relief. Okay, then I just do it. Then I realized that thinking back now on hindsight bias, I may have top up too early because after my first year of working, income tax level not that high, at most 7%. So thinking back, I may have top up too early. That is true. But you see, the fact is, many people think that they can have higher salaries in their 40s and 50s without thinking about the risk that they will get retrenched, and get stagnant in their careers. You see, every people on Reddit, Hardware Zone will tell you, so stupid to top up in your 20s and 30s. You want to get higher tax relief when you are in your 40s and 50s when you're a higher career position. How many people can get to that position? There's only a limited number of director level, manager level that can achieve that more than 120K per annum of income. But yeah lah, I know there's a lot of discussion about this. Follow-up questions?
Just now you also mentioned something, but you quickly ran through it. You mentioned you were intending to start something great at the beginning of this year. What is that?
What is that? Okay, I'm going to start full-time YouTube and quit my day job. That is something great. And
have you told your employer already?
Boom.
Or is this the first?
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The recording date right now, you're watching this podcast, is the 1st of February. My last day of work was 31st of January. So today is my first day of YouTube full-time.
Wow.
Wow, congrats.
First appearance also.
Just nice.
Is
Anyway,
that the reason why you had to recently you've been keeping track of all your social media stats?
Yes. I would say that's just a part and parcel of it. I just want to be accountable to make sure that there's growth in it. If one part of it remains stagnant, then I know where to focus on. And because previously I was focusing too much on YouTube, I think I may want to branch off to different platforms. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I think back to the contribution to CPF part, right? I'll just share my opinion on this lah. I also wanted to know, right? Were you when you were much younger, like in your early 20s, and you had this sum of money coming in, whether is it from tuition or from your day job and stuff like that, right? Were you not tempted to at least try to find or seek for high returns? So you look at for me, right, at early 20s, I look at Kelvin's video, right? And then I see he get 30% per annum or 40% per annum on his options play, right? I would definitely be tempted, like to do wheel strategy and to sell put, sell call, this kind of thing. Like, have you not thought about like wanting to active invest, pick stocks, or some people like to day trade or play options and stuff like that?
Wait, let me defend myself. It's not 30-40%.
It's higher, is it?
It's way lower. It's way lower. Okay. So don't take this out of context.
Yeah, but the yield is very high, like, on a
It's
400,000.
higher than dividend yield,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, back then, social media and YouTube is not so much about this kind of content. So the most kind of investing content you can find is really on online forums. And back then, I think cash flow investing, dividend investing is still quite a big thing, financial freedom kind of stuff. Not much into growth investing until COVID came. So will you say I'm tempted or not? Yes. After seeing how Kelvin makes so much return on his options trade. So I did dabble a bit of it, realized I wasn't too good about it. I could not handle that kind of fluctuation. So if you ask me whether I tried, yes. Am I good in it? No. Do I want to continue with it? Maybe, but not now, right? So that's everyone will try to dip their toes into something. We call that shiny things. So this shiny thing syndrome, we were talking about shiny things, and the thing about shiny things is that it is very attractive when you look from the outside, but you realize that when you try to touch these shiny things, either you burn or you excel in it. So a long time you will go back to your circle of competence, what you do best, right? So Chikeng, if you are good in China stocks investing, just continue to do good in what you believe in, right? If you want to touch some other things, crypto, derivatives, okay, option plays, maybe you can dabble in it a bit, but you realize that if you are not good in it, then better go back to your circle of competence.
Right. Haven't been doing very well for the last 2 years, but I'll persevere on. I'll see where this goes. But no, I have not touched crypto at all because I haven't get over that psychological thing of trying to make sense of it yet.
Like after you reach the full retirement sum, right? What do you have any other plans for the CPF portion of it? Or you're just gonna like leave it one side and not do anything with it?
The only thing I would do is that every year on the 1st of January, I will top up to the BHS, my MediSave account, because that will qualify for tax relief. But other than that, I think there's not much for me to do already. So you see, like I say, the 80K that I top up initially is a semi one-time thing. I only need to top up my BHS. And it's great that I top up this MediSave account to BHS because it will entitle me to tax relief. And that's what a lot of people who have reached FRS and BHS are doing every year. They look forward to 1st January. They look forward to the goalpost shifting, you see. They do not have to worry about the FRS anymore.
Okay. So if let's say you just now you say you were going full-time into YouTube, right? So it also means that you probably don't have to contribute because you're so-called self-employed. So you don't have to contribute anything to CPF. Will you still be contributing at all, like the normal 20% kind of thing? Or you're just going to leave it totally?
The answer is yes. Yes. The answer is yes. Because self-employed, there are 2 kinds of self-employed. The first kind of self-employed is that you are your own business. So mandatory contributions as a self-employed, you get 8%. You need to contribute 8%. Based on your net trade income. And then the voluntary contribution to your trade account as a self-employed, that is voluntary. That's up to you whether you want to do it, but 8% is mandatory. So that is one case of self-employed. The other kind of self-employed is where you open up a company, you pay yourself a salary, but you are the only employee. You are the only employee. So you continue with what the normal employer and employee contributions are. That one, I believe you all know what is it about. just that now you're paying yourself a salary. But so there's 17% employer, 20% employee. So would I still contribute or not? Yes, because I still believe in building up the CPF and supercharging the ordinary account, because that is also eligible for tax relief at the same time. You see, your CPF are actually, your CPF contributions, mandatory contributions are eligible for tax relief. So that is the way I try to steer towards.
Actually, you mentioned OA just now. I'm not sure what's your progress with regards to HDB and so on, right? I have you bought your HDB BTO, but I just want to ask you questions on, like, when you buy HDB, will you use the OA money for the purchase, or you just leave it there to earn the interest? What's because this one I have some discussion with Kelvin in the past. Also, we debated, like, should we really use our cash to pay for our mortgage, or should we use the OA or not? So what's your take on this?
Okay, right now in this macroeconomic environment in high interest rates, right, I believe the better choice is to use CPF to pay, CPF OA to pay. Because even if you incur accrued interest at 2.6%, it's still lower than what outside rates are, right? Your fixed deposits are giving you 4%. So you could borrow from your own CPF OA first, borrow at a rate of 2.6%, incur that accrued interest, that's okay. But you see, your cash can go and put into other higher yielding instruments. Now, the case is only flipped when it's in a low interest rate environment. Like just 1 year ago, you see your bank rates are giving you 1.5%. That is even lower than the CPF rate. So it's really depend on the macroeconomic factors. Like right now, I will encourage everyone go for HDB loan, 2.6%, and pay using the CPF. I think that is the wiser choice for now, 2023.
All right, thanks.
Right. Then I think because we talked about this whole interest rate thing, right? I wanted to add on about looking, because all this discussion is in hindsight, ma. So I was thinking, that 80,000 that you throw into CPF, or sorry, you invested into CPF or you contributed to CPF, right? If in hindsight you actually didn't do that, instead you throw everything into the SPY instead. That it was one of the biggest bull run that we've seen over the last decade, right? Since 2012, or like whenever you just graduated. So if instead, like looking back, if you invested all the money into the SPY, and even after this market correction or whatever you want to call it, you might be net like better off because of the early entries that you enter, and somehow because you have such a disciplined kind of way of living, right? You're able to amass such a huge fortune. Wouldn't it kind of be better, like, assuming that the instrument continues compounding, and so would you still kind of recommend or would still like to put out the advice that youngsters should contribute CPF, or instead just throw inside a broad-based index?
Yeah, all these are just hindsight bias thing, right? What if the market didn't do as well as you thought? So I can give you a very direct answer. If I don't have full retirement sum today, I wouldn't dare to quit my job and do YouTube full-time. So having that CPF is that buffer that I needed before I jump and transition full-time into YouTube. Because I know that now I don't have to worry much about my CPF. The government won't come and chase me for CPF contributions because it's already maxed. And I can hence take that leap, that big leap of faith, because now I'm stretching into unknown territory. You see, income, you don't know, it will fluctuate up or down. And if I didn't have that CPF, I wouldn't dare to do what I'm doing right now. So like I said, if you want to do higher risk stuff, make sure that your low risk things are well taken care of. That is your defense strategy. Whereas if you want to go all out offense, yes, definitely you can choose that investment strategy, right? Just put everything into SPY, S&P 500, okay, all into investments, full fire into the FI portfolio. Assuming that you are in a bull market, yes, it will do very well for you. But what if it's the other way? Nobody really knows, right? So will I encourage people to do that when they are in their 20s? If I go along this path again, yes, I will still do my same way, because I don't know about the future. If I could tell my 5 years back ago, should I put in money in CPF or SPY? Of course, I put in SPY, right, if I know the result, but I don't. And that's why I choose the safer route and the more defensive route.
Chris, I have. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You want to ask first?
No. I just want to give a opposing view to this lah. So
Oh wait, before your opposing view, I ask question first. Because just now he was saying, right, you have the CPF, that's why you dare to, go take risks and everything. But the CPF is more for like retirement. You're only supposed to get it back like earliest is 55 years old. Like even if you have $500,000, $1 million inside, it doesn't do you any good if your income, your cash flow is not there. So like the government will chase you for a little bit lah, like the mandatory MA top up, right? Like 8% or something when you're self-employed. But I think the more important thing is my question mark is you say that CPF make you cover your base, right? Make you feel safe so that you can go into high risk. And then I look at your life stage is like, oh, you are like planning to I think get married and maybe have a BTO and then probably start a family. And then so all those expenses are, I think, are more crucial, and I think the quantum is very high, to be honest. Like is at this critical junction, you quit your full-time job. So I'm just a little bit like, is that like I don't know, like how's your thinking behind this? Is your cash flow really strong that allows you to be able to like quit your job? Like you mentioned that it was 50-50 before you quit, right? So after you quit, you're effectively down to like maybe 50% of your income previously. So would that affect anything because your expenses are going to rocket up pretty soon, right?
Yeah. Eric, I fully understand where you're coming from, because this is the same kind of comments that Hardware Zone people will write. This guy.
No. I didn't write.
Yes. Eric is one of the Hardware Zone people. That time he defended one of them. But yeah, Chris.
No, it's not me.
See, this is what I expect if this video goes live, right? Hardware Zone people will writing, this stupid YouTuber quit his job to do YouTube full time and has full CPF. How much cash does he have to sustain the lifestyle?
I think it's a very practical question.
Yeah, fully agree. So the thing is that I only show my CPF portfolio online, but most people don't realize is that my investment portfolio is much bigger than that CPF portfolio.
Whoa.
Which I don't show online, right? So I only show part of my assets, which is the CPF, which is a cornerstone. That is something safe that I can share about. But the investment portfolio, I am not sharing it because of privacy reasons. But I can tell you that if I dare to make this kind of move, then obviously I do have some safety net set aside for that. Otherwise, I would not have quit my job. I would just continue doing it on the side, right? And
okay.
Sorry, did I answer your question? Or
means that your cash flow is quite strong. You don't have to be bothered about, like, even if your expenses go up after the marriage and after your BTO thing, your like mortgage and all that will be all taken care of. Can I say that?
Yeah. So before I even did this YouTube thing, I was already like planning for finances 5 to 10 years ahead, including all my expenses on housing, renovation, wedding. So that is all planned out in the year-on-year budget. I would say the income and the cash flow and the expenses, all these are already factored in. So it's already priced in. I would say that.
Yeah, saving rate dropped from 80% to 75%. I think Chris will make it. Don't worry. come back to Kelvin.
To all the Hardware Zone commenters, I think it's the minimum bar that all the personal finance influencers do their own planning as well. So don't need to worry for them. I think that's just my perspective. Yeah. Kelvin,
by the way, I'm not in Hardware Zone. I don't even have an account.
Don't lie. Okay.
Don't lie.
Kelvin, your opposing view.
So just now Chris mentioned that he dares to quit his job because of the CPF thing. That my opposing view is, for me, I also quit my job, but I didn't even reach 1/5 of FRS. So I think like the reason I dare to quit is and not top up the CPF is because one thing is I'm quite confident in the long-term performance of the market. Second thing is when I see GIC's return, it's not bad. It's not bad. GIC return is actually going down over time if you actually look at it. it's a 20-year real rate of return. It was from 6% in 2001, and now it's almost at 4% in 2022. Not saying that it will keep going down, lah. Maybe they will bounce back. But it gives me the feeling that it may not be as safe as we think, lah. Not 100% safe, lah. Maybe 99% safe, lah. But it's still safe. Not saying that CPF is not safe. Just want to make it clear. So like when I say like CPF is right now, it's just guaranteed by the government, but the government can do anything about it, lah. So even that the day the government was trying to make us work a bit longer, we increase our retirement age, they may also do the same thing for CPF also, lah. I wouldn't be surprised. So that's why I didn't top up the CPF, lah. And my view is that if you are young, right, it's better to not top up 80K to CPF. And that's what the same thing that Mr. Lu said also. He doesn't encourage topping up that heavily because what, cash is king or whatever. But I guess
then you were talking about GIC return not that good, right? When you're talking about GIC return not that good, I always curious lah, but I haven't done any research in this area. If GIC is not doing very well in their returns, does it mean that the macroeconomic factors are not great as well? That means that the broad market sectors, the ETFs and indexes are all not doing well. That's why GIC cannot perform very well. And in that case, wouldn't it apply to your investment portfolio as well? I'm not sure because I haven't done any research. Isn't that the whole market going down? And if you have a higher portion of money in that investment portfolio, wouldn't it suffer greater returns? So I'm open to the floor to answer this question.
Yeah, Kelvin is shorting the market, so it doesn't apply to him.
I'm not shorting the market. I'm just saying that the risk is there on the both sides. It's just that CPF is giving you the floor that you need, but it's capping up your upside. So and the upside is, to me, is quite important when you are still young. Then when I'm near 40, 50, then I'm only care about the wealth preserving part. But since you have the safety net already, it's actually, I think it's not real. It's not a real safety net in the sense that Eric was saying about. It's more about the psychological part of the safety net. So Chris knows that even if his YouTube fails, which I think it will never fail. He can at least go back to work as a like cashier job in the worst case, and earn a low pay. But he still know that by 50, 60 years old, he will still have at least 2,000, 3,000 worth of income coming in every month. And that's actually quite significant.
Got a follow-up question for Chris, right? I suddenly thought of it. Next time, right? Let's say after you start a family, right? Let's say your YouTube really takes off like few million subscribers, something like that, and then you have a large income stream. Would you consider like when your child is born, right, you just top up 80K for them or whatever amount, just point at the start, like once they're born, they have a CPF already, right? Then government give them a few thousand, and then you just like put maybe 100K into the CPF, and then just let it compound until like crazy. Would it cross your mind to do something like that?
Eric, you're asking this question because are you considering to do that?
I top up. Not gonna lie, I actually did top up for my kid.
His kid CPF has more money than me. Just saying, but okay.
Okay. So previously, right, I was quite inspired by all your CPF videos, and I'm like, wow, this guy is so young, and then he got so much money in his CPF. So I'm like very excited Then, the forums, they also got talk about CPF and all that. So I top up for myself, and then after I think about it, hey, I only get relief on this amount. So I'm thinking like, still got some spare cash. Then at that time, I'm like, I don't know about Tesla yet, so I'm like, I'm not really investing very heavily into the US market. So just buy a bit of dividend. Then I'm thinking like, still got a bit of cash. Do what? Maybe I put a few thousand in my kid's CPF, then let it compound like 20, 30 years. By the time he grows up, HDB is going to be like $1 million. So, I don't know. Has that thought come into your mind as well?
Yeah. So Eric, regarding this, different parents got different parenting styles, right? And you're talking about contributing to a child's CPF, which has no tax benefits at all,
Yeah, no
zero
tax
tax
benefit.
relief, and you're putting in on the head start compared to other kids of his age, which I think is a very personal decision. Now, for myself personally, I will not do that because I don't believe in giving the kids a head start. They need to fight for their own security, safety, and whatever. I always believe that if the kid is good enough, he doesn't need your help. And the kid is such a failure, then why does he deserve of your help? I'm into this kind of thinking. So, but if you ask me whether next time if the kid really needs some funds, papa money to buy their first home, yes, I will still try to help them in whatever ways I can, because at least the home is not an expense thing. It's not like some luxurious item. It's a basic need. It's a necessity. This is something that if I could help, then I will try to help. But that is only if he asks. I won't like, if he never asks me, then I do all this for him. He also probably too young to understand what all these things are. Would it compound in his account? Yes, but does he understand it? Probably not. And he doesn't, maybe he doesn't understand what kind of sacrifice you did as a father to do that at that point in time. Maybe when he's older, at the age of 21, he understands all these kind of things where his parents are helping him and he knows how to appreciate, then you can consider lah. But that's just my own thinking, not financial advice.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. That's why I top up like 1 year. Then after I thought about it, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't top up into his account. I should just focus on building my own portfolio and all that. Yeah, so I fully agree with you. Like that, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this lah. Yeah.
I have a question to ask Chris. Just now you talked about your stock portfolio is even bigger than your CPF. I'm not going to ask you how much it is, but I just interested to know like what's the compositions, because watching your YouTube, I don't think you talk a lot about the stock portfolio part. So just want to know, like, let's say, is it like mostly US, or you have sizable Singapore stocks, or like index, or do you pick stocks like that? Just a rough idea on what you are doing on that now, since it's a big portfolio. Wow.
Okay, so to be more specific, it's not just a stock portfolio, it's an investment portfolio. So it will include stuff like US equities, US indices, Singapore stocks, including REITs, and then those kind of robo-advisor picks, robo-advisor funds in my SRS and CPF, all these kind of CPF investments, to be super clear. Not including CPF funds in my CPF account. And also included bonds like T-bills, SSB, all this. So I would say the biggest portion is still my individual stock picks, mainly in the US market. That's because I also started with that lah. So I realized that maybe I'm not that good in picking stocks over the past few years. So I moved towards index investing, which I'm trying to build up, especially on the S&P 500, QQQ, and the World Index funds. So yeah, I'm less into active investing now, more into passive index funds.
Your passive funds include China ETF as well?
No lah, not yet.
Chicken have comment on that, I think.
You are only truly a passive investor if you buy the whole world index, just saying, because you have actively chose to invest in the US market. So no, that's just my personal opinion lah. But yeah, I mean, Mr. Lu have debated with me on this whole topic. But
just now Chris mentioned he has the world ETF. I think the world is MSCI World, or is it like the true all world ETF?
Oh, it's not the all world one, it's the MSCI World. So
then that one don't have China in there.
I mean, the real world index is, I think, VT, Vanguard Total, is market cap weighted and it's the whole world.
Since you are going full time, will you be considering sharing your investment portfolio?
Not yet lah, not yet. I think there are things that I want to share and there are things that I wouldn't want to share. So as of this point of time, not yet.
So you want to make it nice first before sharing lah.
There's nothing to make nice lah. Your returns are determined by the market. So if it's up, it means it's up now. When it's down, then there's nothing you can hide also ma.
Thanks once again, Chris, for coming onto the Backholder Pod. I think it was an insightful sharing, all the way from CPF to FIRE to even how you're gonna allocate capital for your descendants. As a young chap here, or at least the youngest in the room, I too don't have that head start. So my CPF account, I think, have like $5,000 or something, and it's purely from the government. And I did contribute a bit, but it's, I think, mostly to MediSave. But anyway, I think it has been a great session to understand Chris a lot more. And for we know that I think around 80% of our viewers are Singapore. So that's based on our statistics. But you know what other statistics we saw? There's like, I think 80% of you guys didn't subscribe to the channel. And we only have like, I don't know, 10% of the people viewing and the views to like ratio. So don't forget to like the video on your way out. But yeah, thanks once again for Chris for coming onto the channel. And we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Speaking, when are you going full time?
He started out from
I
full
need-
time.
I need FRS. How to go full time? I don't even have FRS.
No one cares about FRS lah.
My CPF only got $3,000, please.